the first time that we talked, bro, you like so down to earth. I got to get your whole story. I'm like, I got to sit down, Marcus Paulk. So, like, let me just start from the beginning. I got so many questions for you, bro. Like, it's crazy. So, like, tell us, like, born and raised. Tell us that story. You know, we got to just know, like, where you started, how it started.
All right. Well, born Los Angeles, California. I was born at the Cedar Sinai where Biggie died. You know,
famous.
right there, center of the city.
Okay.
My family, my mom and dad actually are from Buffalo, New York, upstate New York,
Okay.
and moved to LA before they had me. And that was a blessing for me in disguise later on to be able to take advantage of all the things that LA had to offer. Started, going to school. I went to Palms Elementary.
Okay. What is it?
That's like right off of, let's see, Motor and like Venice.
Okay.
Or Palms in Venice.
Okay. There's so many schools. I'm
yeah.
like, okay.
Went to Palms Elementary, where I got a taste of, I think, wanting to entertain a little bit. A funny story is we had a school competition where it was like a performance. You could come and do a performance, and I had a rival almost like at my school. It was like myself and there was this kid named Scott. Scott was like the all-American white boy, and I was like the all-American black kid. You feel me? And we had this performance day, and I remember at that time I was already doing a little bit of MC Hammer and Michael Jackson impersonating. This is like, this is early elementary. This had to be like kindergarten, second grade, second grade type situation.
So you been like,
yeah. Okay. So, bam, we get to the performance. I'm ready to do my thing. I'm after Scott. Scott goes. He hits him with the Yankee Doodle Dandy. He's like all American white boy, man. He up there, but Yankee Doodle Dandy. He tapping. He doing his thing, like, you know what I'm saying? Not bad. Kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
Light claps at the end. Okay. And then it was my time to shine, man. There was a couple other performances. Swear this is like a scene out of like one of your favorite TV shows where they show the monologue clips of the other people performing, and it's just like, this is all right. People falling asleep in the crowd. And
this is what you say, second grade?
This had to be like first, second grade. This is really young because I started acting about 4 years old, and if I recall, this is like right around the time I started acting.
So look, pause, because I remember we talked like a year or so ago, and you told me when you was a kid, you used to like dance on the beach or perform on the beach. Is that around this time?
This is around that time. This is me, probably right when I had started on the beach, and let's see, it's about the same age, probably 4 years old. So I go out there and I do Too Legit to Quit. MC Hammer. I got the pants on. I got the puffy pants. I got the whole outfit because my mom used to sew, so she made me an outfit. Looked just like Hammer's, and I had the lines in my hair and everything. Boom, I tear it up. I'm dancing, bam, hitting the moves, typewriter across the stage. The crowd go crazy when I finish. It was really lit, and it really boosts my confidence for sure. Early on, doing that performance at my school and the crowd going crazy.
Well, so at that point when you were doing that, had you already been to a real audition, or it was coming after that?
I think shortly after that is when my auditioning came into play. So like we were saying, yes, I started out early on dancing on Venice Beach. The boardwalk in the 90s was a hot spot for performers. There was a lot of different talents out there. There was people like the one-man band who used to play all the instruments at once. You had Flat Top, who was just an amazing dancer. I remember seeing Flat Top perform.
I remember Flat Top.
And he was just so incredible. And I used to just be stuck watching him. And I think seeing him and a couple other performers, I told my mom, like, I could do that,
Yeah. That was going to lead me to my next question, too. Like, how hands-on were your parents with
my mom, seeing my dad was a singer.
Okay.
Also had like a regular job as a chef, but hustling on the side, singing.
Okay.
And it was my dad and my uncle. They're twins called Twin Force. They were a group. And they did very well singing. They actually won Star Search, but I was about 7 at that time.
Okay.
And seeing my dad win that and my uncle was also a big boost in confidence, just with the fam to know that we, can win in a big space. So that was really awesome to have that experience. But my mom was always with me. My mom was out there right with me when I was performing on the beach, and a story she tells, like the first time we went out there and my dad was there and she was like trying to get him to hit the boom box or get something going and no hesitation. I ran over, I hit the boom box, got it going, sat my bucket out there and just started the show, which was really a testament to kind of how my energy is with this business and entertainment itself.
Yeah.
Didn't really take anybody to push me out there or force me out there. I was always ready to go. And that's one thing my mom says, like, you just always were ready, you know. And from Venice Beach is partially how I got somewhat discovered because there was a place called Big Daddy's Pizza, which is right across from where they're kind of closed now. I think they changed owners, but right where the skaters are, right down there on Venice.
On the boardwalk.
One of the ladies who her parents own Big Daddy's Pizza, she used to come down and tip me all the time and like tell my mom, like, you got to get him on TV. He's so amazing. And she's like, my parents are in casting. I'm going to get you some information to get him an agent. And, my mom asked me, you want to be on TV? And at that time, at 4 years old, my biggest influence, Michael Jackson, MC Hammer, seeing Michael Jackson do it so young and just be a phenomenal singer and dominant, so confident on stage. That's what I wanted to be. It was an easy convince far as wanting to be on TV. I'm like, yeah, that's where I see Mike. So that's where I want to be at.
I mean, what do you remember about your first audition, like official audition? Like, I'm finna be on TV after this.
Okay, so the first thing I remember that was a significant role, which was basically right away after I got picked up by the agents, they signed me for dance and for commercials. And in the 90s, all the kid stuff was like hip hop dancing and stuff like that in the commercials. I got signed theatrically across the board. So one of the first projects I went out on, which is not on my IMDb credited with, but it was the Hammerman Saturday morning cartoon.
Okay.
MC Hammer's cartoon where he was talking to the children in the beginning and then they would go into the cartoon. It was almost like a Sesame Street kind of feel mixed with this animation project. That was like one of the first things that I booked. And it was...
That lines right up along with what you were doing on the beach.
Yeah, right. It was really like what I manifested, like, because to become an actor or to be on TV, and then in my mind, I'm like, I want to meet Michael Jackson and MC Hammer. These are the people that I'm trying to strive to be like, or, be on that type of entertainment level. As a kid, that's what I was looking like. This is who I looked up to. And for me to get the MC Hammer cartoon and work with MC Hammer, like on the first thing, was just mind blowing and like automatically hooked,
Yeah. What was that experience like being that young? Like, how old were you at that point?
I was 4, about 4.5 when I booked that. And
so you were young, but you still remember that.
I remember it very clearly. Okay. I remember walking onto the big sound stage, and it was a big green screen, a huge green screen. And we walked in, and then eventually Hammer came out to meet all the kids, and it was just like, wow, I'm here. Then they had us all dance, and Hammer was like studying me, watching me dance, and really loving my dance moves. And actually, like, there's a clip at the end of the cartoon, and you see Hammer studying me. And actually, there was like a dance where I was like going like this, and you see Hammer watching me. And later on, he does my dance move later on in some other music videos.
Yeah.
And my mom like pinpointed that, like, because she remembers him watching me. And she's like, that's your dance move. Like,
Hammer was a big deal back then.
Even the Too Legit video, when he had the small version of MC Hammer, that actually came from, I actually ended up on stage with MC Hammer at his concert after. We go to see MC Hammer perform at the Forum. Before we leave, I'm telling my mom, like, I'm going to be on stage. She like, look, just come and enjoy the concert. I got my outfit on. I'm like, all right, Mom, you go see. You know, I get there, I'm dancing in the aisles, and all of a sudden they hit me with a spotlight. Some guy comes and like, they want him on stage. My mom's like, what?
It was a random spotlight?
It was a spot. Yeah, they just took the big spotlight from the house and put it on me because I'm like dancing in the aisles and making my own show.
Oh, so yeah, you stuck out.
Like it was people dancing, people kind of like doing their thing, but I was just in the aisle going to him, and they put the light on me. Somebody comes running from out of the back, somebody who worked with Hammer, like, they want him on stage. And my mom was like, okay. I end up on stage dancing with him. They put me up on the speaker. I'm dancing up above the crowd and got me back down. And then when they did the roll call, Hammer used to do his roll call at the end of the show with all the dancers. One by one would come out and do their solos.
Yeah.
So he had me in the tuck, and he's like, okay, you about to go after, I forget the dude with the young cat with the swoop hair. He had the hair that just went up with the swoop. You remember that? Yeah. So bam, after him, bam, I go, I kill it. He say my name. Huge. It was like actually in the newspaper the next day in an article. It was really huge.
So that's how you know things just vibration. Everything just not how they're supposed to. Talk about after that though. What was the gig that you got after that one? Like there was a major role.
Okay, so it was a lot of notches after that, things that were just building, a lot of good commercials. I had a really big Corn Pops commercial that was very huge. It was, if you look up Corn Pops 90s commercial etiquette, it was a big commercial where we were doing like, the teacher's like chin up and she's teaching us how to eat properly, and then she scarfs down the bowl of Corn Pops. That was a very huge commercial, played a lot, got me a lot of national play. Then after that, couple big shows I did, The Crew, the Sinbad show, which was dope. That was my first time meeting Ray J and Brandy and got to work with them. I did
how old were you on Sinbad show?
Let's say about 5, 6 years old, in between like those times, 6, 7. This is all before Martin and Moesha. I booked the Me and the Boys, which was with Steve Harvey. I did The Crew. I did a bunch of little shows that were kind of prominent to me, like really learning the game. And then came let's see, trying to think of the order exactly. I believe it was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air show, which was a huge episode because that was the episode when Will Smith's dad came back. So it was a big week for them, just as far as the gravity of the script. Will Smith's, I think, breakout acting moment on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where his dad left and he's crying with Uncle Phil.
That's crazy.
The scene right before that, he's at the carnival with his dad, and I'm the kid on the shoulders that's like, oh, your dad's pretty good. He's like, oh yeah, that's my pops. He got to finally embrace that moment of being there, and that was a huge moment. Bigger for me because I think, being seen by like Quincy Jones and all these prominent people in the time of television, that group of people on that set. Also a big moment, me doing my Michael Jackson MC Hammer impersonation. Michael Jackson at the time, Alfonso Riviera, who played Carlton, he was the little kid in the Coca-Cola commercial with Michael Jackson. So he used to always do his little Michael thing sometimes for the audience. So they go to play the song. He starts to break his move or two, and I just pop out there and start busting him up. Paul. So like I'm killing it though. So the whole stage is like in awe by this little kid who came, and I'm like almost showing Carlton up.
Yeah,
Alfonso. Shout out to Alfonso. It's all love.
Yeah.
But I was giving it to him. You know what I'm saying? I'm hitting the moonwalk, which I'm spot on as well. And he got a little older, so his moves might not have been as crispy. It's just not as cute when you're not a little kid. So I'm killing it, and that was a big moment. I think a very memorable moment amongst the producers and people just on the set.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna ask you too. I'm like, cause I ain't want to spend too much time on the Martin episode, but like being on Fresh Prince, being on shows like Martin, when you older, you look at this age, what do you think when you seeing yourself on TV? Because Martin come on every night. I know you're not on every episode, but then it's Moesha come on. Moesha, so it's like, what do you think, especially the memes now on the internet? What are you thinking when you see I'm sorry a lot of it? What are you thinking about that? Like, damn, like
it's so I'm much appreciative that people enjoy my work that much.
Yeah.
And to be so many years later and people still quoting that line between myself and Martin.
Yeah.
It's amazing. People are like, it's legendary. They love it. It's like it lives rent free in people's head. As they say.
Every time they see you, that's what they gonna say. I'm like, bro, like he did so much stuff.
So I love that, man. I love the fans of the show, of the Martin show, and of course my other work. But for that to be such a prominent line, I think it's like one of the. I have to say now, after people have said it to me, that it's probably one of the most memorable lines, in urban television. It's actually just recently somebody sent me a picture of that on like urban trivia.
Okay,
it's like, what did I lie to Martin about is one of the questions, which is awesome. Like, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then just a little bit. So so you go from the Sinbad show, and then you about 4, 5, 6 years old. And then after the Sinbad show, when does Moesha come?
Moesha comes after Martin. I actually turned 8 on the Martin episode, which was really dope.
Okay.
That week it was myself and Tisha Campbell's birthday is actually, I'm October 12th and hers is October 13th.
Okay.
So they did a cake with both of our names on it. Yeah, okay. Libra gang. So they put both of our names on the cake. It was a really memorable week, and it was really fun, man, working on that set. And so that was 8 years old, and then Moesha came right after that when I was 8 years old as well. I booked Moesha because after Martin, it was like I was pretty much the kid.
Yeah, and he was like the kid
right in the timing where there was these 2 new shows, and it was actually another show that wanted me as well. I had booked both of the shows, and I had to choose between the 2 shows, and I was like, I'm gonna go with the show with Brandy, because at that time Brandy was,
So at that time, at that age, you in tune more of what's going on, like you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And the reason why that show was so big, especially for us on the East Coast, I know we in LA right now, but us on the East Coast, that's all UPN. That's all we watching is Moesha and the spinoff, the Parkers or whatever.
Yeah, that's
amazing. Can you just talk about being that age, 8, 9 years old? You on how many seasons was that show?
We did 6 years, 6 seasons.
So what is that like as a kid being on a show for 6 years? You still got to go to school, but you got to record. Like, what's that whole process like?
Man, it was really, really dope. I really enjoyed it. It's such a different lifestyle than most kids.
Yeah, for sure.
You're pushed into this adult scenario as far as having a full-time job early on, but I carried it well, Luckily, the other stars, as far as Brandy and everybody, they were still kind of young, not too young, but a little bit young still.
Yeah.
Because they were still finishing school right at the beginning of the show, because they were like 16, 17, 18. So they were graduating over the next 2 seasons or a season and a half. So I got to do a little bit of school with them, which was cool. We're still kind of separated because I was in a younger grade.
So y'all going to school like on set?
On set.
Okay.
And then I was doing like 3 weeks on set, go back to regular school for like about a week in between the shooting. So my mom kind of keeping me grounded and keeping me in school at the time until we kind of figured it out that wasn't going to work as much, like just because it was just so much work, more work for the teachers that they didn't even want to do as well. Like after a while, they're like,
was there any issues with like kids noticing or people noticing you being on TV?
The kids noticed me from TV, and that wasn't like a problem.
Okay.
Kids really actually enjoyed it. I remember I was probably like the coolest kid, coming to school, and I kept it cool. But as you see, I'm a pretty chill guy, humble.
You cool
I'm a real person, so
for sure.
It was just like, I probably was getting some of these almost interview questions as I was growing up. Kids like, "Whoa, what's it like? What are you doing? You doing both?" It's just cool to them. Never really had too much hate on it. Maybe when I got to high school, some cats try to be a little mad when they see me pulling up because I didn't go to regular high school. Later, I was homeschooled, but I would still go to some high schools just to pull up, meet some friends, and people were like, "Oh, what's he doing here?" But most people would be drawn to it. But it's always a couple haters.
But this is my last question on the Moesha. Because again, a lot of us is fans of the show. So talk about like some of the people now that we older, of course, how life go. A lot of people have passed. And so talk about, kind of how that goes and kind of what you think about that. Lamont Bentley, and you have the character that played what's her name?
Yvette Wilson.
Yeah, her. So
Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac is
we lost a couple of the great ones, and even Merlin Santana, who played Ohaji first episode. That was a lot. As well, we all lose people as we get older.
Yeah, for sure.
And but those were very abrupt, especially like Lamont Bentley's, Yvette's to her illness. Those were very abrupt and sad situations. Both all of those people that passed were just great energies, great lights, great people. Lamont, high energy.
Yeah.
Had a huge future ahead of him as far as acting ability. Could have seen him doing a lot of things. Yvette, amazing spirit.
You could tell. You could tell.
She was a great comedian. I think she would have did so well in the comedic space.
The new space
after Moesha as well. After the Parkers, she probably would have been traveling, doing a lot of comedy. She was awesome. Bernie Mac, just the coolest guy. I just remember Bernie Mac, me and him had some really cool, like, my real uncle moments. I remember one time he was on the set. I'm like, Uncle Bernie, man, why you got nail polish on, man? And he didn't have nail polish. He's like, no, this ain't nail polish, nephew. He's like, this is shiny buff. You know what I'm saying? He had the shiny buff on there with his nails shiny, real Chicago player style, And I'm like, oh, why you got that like that? He's like, you gotta have your hands right if you ever want to touch on a nice lady, if you ever want to, ladies ain't gonna touch you if you're fingernails all filthy, and it was just real cool and player how he told me that, man. And I just like Uncle Bernie, man. He was just a cool dude, man.
R.P. Bernie Mac.
Yeah,
R.P. Bernie Mac, man. So all right, you did 6 seasons. So that's in the span of how many years?
It was about 6 years because usually we would do like most of throughout the year. You take a little hiatus and then come back and shoot. A bunch of months of shooting.
When the show ended, what's next? What happens next? Because it's like by the end,
in between time, or you saying at the very end?
At the end, when
at the very end of Moesha. Well, we didn't know we were going to be canceled. Of course, everybody knows the infamous cliffhanger of me being kidnapped and somebody being pregnant, which everybody would love for those answers. You might get some. You might get some answers sooner than later. Okay. When that show, it was a little bit of a shock that we weren't coming back because I know they wanted to do like 2 more seasons of Moesha.
Okay.
But some things, happened, politics, as they say, which is why, Parkers, I thought was able to have, their success 5 more years. That lets you know right there that Moesha could have did 10 years because, even though the story changed, it could have been, directed for any character to keep the story going like some other great shows have been able to do. But after Moesha, I was blessed to be able to, kind of shift gears and really start hitting big in the movie side. 2 years later, I booked like 1 or 2 other movies in between, but about a year or 2 later, I booked Roll Bounce, which was just an amazing movie to be a part of.
Okay, how old were you in Roll Bounce?
16.
So
I was 16 when I did that film.
Man, so I was just about to ask you about
16, summertime, Chicago, having a ball, with all the guys. Man,
how long did it take y'all to film that?
That was 3 months. We were in Chicago for 3 months during the summer, and just
how many hours a day?
We were okay. So the first month was just skating.
You had 30
days of just skating for 8-9 hours a day on skates every day.
I know that. Is that okay? So boom, I'm gonna cut you off because I done been to a few like shows out here and been like an extra or whatever, and we on set for like 8 hours, 9 hours. So it just become repetitive. You're like, man, I'm ready to go. Is that how it is even when you're in a major film too? Like,
well,
to been on skates for 8 hours, 9 hours.
That was a different type of thing. You know, that's like we were really training, you know, to try to learn those dance moves and how to skate. Like, I could skate a little bit. I could roller skate, get around the rink a little bit, you know, but I had never really skated without brakes on my skates, you know, I had my own custom pair of forward, you know, joints to roll on. And that was a great experience. Now, our feet were killing us the first week, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But, you know, once you got your bunions together or your hard spots on your feet after they done softened up, and we got our custom skates like day 2 or 3, started to, you know, break those in. It got comfortable. We just started having fun on those things, man. I think who had it the worst, though, I would say the most falls taken on set will go to Rick Gonzalez. My boy, shout out to Rick Gonzalez. But man, he was falling like it was a cartoon. Like, boop, 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 bam. Like, he had a couple hard falls.
Would you say by the time y'all were done doing that the first 30 days, everybody was pretty savvy with it?
Everybody was pretty savvy. Okay, the best skaters on set were me, Bow Wow, and Wesley Jonathan. We really took on to it really well. Close after that came like Brandon T, Cleo, those guys. They kind of followed up after us, kind of still. Everybody was pretty good on skates, though, I can say, you know, getting around. Rick Gonzalez had the hardest time. He was falling.
What was that like being on set? Okay, I had so many actors in that movie though. You got Bow Wow, like you said, Cleo, Brandon T. Jack, Nick Cannon.
Cannon. We had Run DMC, Wayne Brady. I mean, it was a star-studded cast. Megan Good, you know, that's fam. She was in there, and that was just a great time working with her because that's family. It was really a time, man. Because
look, not to cut you off, this is called grade school media because I like to like dig a little deeper. So like when you on set at Road Bounce, you said this in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
So are y'all like in the street or is like a studio or like how is it?
So they had the skating rink where we were gonna shoot at. Well, we had one skating rink where we practiced at, and then they had the skating rink outside the city where we were shooting, like the Sweetwater, which was this huge skating rink that was like private, closed off. Nobody really knew where we at unless we were shooting there. I mean, people probably knew about it because they probably were like, they heard we were in town. But we did a lot of stuff outside. The shots where we were like riding the bus was an amazing moment when we were riding through Chicago, and then they found out we were on the bus, and like we had the whole city outside, man. They were like chasing the bus, me, Bow Wow, they going crazy for. And that was an amazing sight to see. Like the town really embraced us. Chicago really embraced us. And we had a really fun time out there shooting.
Okay. So look, from everything we mentioned from, you know, you starting young until you starting the even Road Bounce, what, like, are you auditioning for these roles, or are they just like, how does that go for somebody? Because you are a prominent kid actor, so
yes,
do you have to audition for everything?
Still auditioning at that time for a lot of those roles, coming in the rooms and just bodying the auditions, you know, making them laugh. You know, my confidence is through the roof at that time, so ready for everything. It's funny because Roll Bounce, I remember a fellow actor, he was actually going up for the same role as me, and he was like more of a brown skin character. My character was Boo. He really thought he was gonna book this role. And it was funny because we were doing eliminations. They were kind of doing like eliminations and group ups on like one of the second to last auditions.
Yeah.
And they did like a group of the guys who pretty much got picked, but they kind of told us we could leave before this other group. And we all were like, but we thought we were the group, you know? And we really were like kind of like devastated when they like had us kind of leave, but it was kind of like a play, I think, so that the other group didn't feel bad or whatever. But they had us worried because we were like, oh, this is the solid crew right here.
Yeah.
And it turned out that it ended up being us. And then the one kid, he kind of had his foot in his mouth because he like, we all went to lunch after the skate rehearsal. He like, I'm booking this because I'm darker skin and this, and I look like, I was like, all right, we gonna see.
You know, that's crazy you say that because I'm sitting here thinking like whenever you see, because of course you're a childhood actor and then you get more roles as you get older. Us on the outside looking in, we thinking that, oh, since he was on that, he booked that.
Yeah, it's not always the case. You know, you got to go in and show improve almost every time.
What's that feeling though, knowing that I did this, but now I got to go back out for this role? Like, what's that feeling?
It's a little tough at the industry, especially now on the level that I'm at, that they sometimes overlook some of the talent and forget a little bit about who you are.
You definitely should be on like Power or something.
I don't press the issue on people about how legendary my resume really is, but you have to check my resume before you guys ever get in the comments or saying anything about my career. Really check my work, check my resume, and understand I'm on a level. And that also changes the direction on how you're approaching what's your next thing. After doing something like a Red Tails, which was George Lucas, the Mr. Skywalker himself, working with him and doing a project like Red Tails, which is a historical project. The project took me all the way to the White House. It's like, what direction do you go after that, and what type of projects are you going to do? Again, like you said, the respect also from these casting directors and producers that want you to sometimes come in for roles that are kind of beneath you to be auditioning for, and the process is not the same as what it used to be. They like sometimes just want you to send in a self-tape, and I'm a person that controls the room when I walk in, and I want them to feel my energy. So we've lost some of that, but I've been blessed to be able to still be working, and the industry's changed. You know what I'm saying? It's changed far as not only has it changed of how the work is distributed, how everything's being made, but a lot of the people who would vouch for your career, vouch for your talent, who are in the top positions, it may be in the 90s, 2000s, and the 2010s, now don't have those jobs or aren't in the industry anymore. It's either new booties or people that, basically came. New booty sounds crazy. But it's like new people, new people who have, moved up in the business and stuff like that. Some people are aware. Some other casting people are still around and they're still vouching, and people are kind of coming to their senses now in this space and like, Marcus, we got to get you on this. We got to get you on that. We know who you are. We know what you're capable of. So I'm appreciative to be in the space that I'm in, because even the times when it seems like, oh, I'm not in the most major projects, I've taken that time and sharpened my craft, learned how to direct, learned how to produce projects. And in the new space that we're in, that's the most valuable thing I could have done with my time, because I can create my own projects now and push myself and force them to see me in the leading role.
That's what I was going.
Force them to see me as this person who I am, far as can deliver amazingly on camera and carry films and those type of things.
That's what I was going to ask you. I know you did a lot of films after Road Bounce too, whether they were small roles or maybe whatever. But like, even watching, like, well, first let me ask this. Even though you're an established actor, do you still take acting classes sometimes? Or
I never took acting classes. When I was younger, I did do like an improv class kind of for fun, just to see what that was like. I worked with one or two people personally on some stuff, but my mom used to work with me on a lot of the lines. And when I went to these other people, I really wouldn't book. So I just stuck with what was working with me and my mom's earlier on. And then the experience of one just ending up on a television show. Moesha was like training every day with these different great actors coming in and out. And that was my schooling. I was surrounded by Shirley Ralph, William Allen Young, who are very solid theater type trained actors and actress who were great influences on my career, my ability. Also, later on, comedy is a natural thing. So comedy came natural to me. They saw that and they were like, we're giving this kid all the lines. We're going to pitch it up to him and watch him knock it out the park. William Allen Young said later on that, I was so amazing to him that I was able to understand and deliver at that young age. And he's like, you had something that you just can't teach. But I've been blessed now to become greater in the dramatic space, working with people like Terrence Howard, Cuba Gooding Jr., Nate Parker. Cuba is just amazing. Working with him on Red Tails, I learned so much. And Terrence as well. And Nate Parker, who trained under like Denzel and learned certain things about breaking down scenes. And I just picked off those things from these guys and learned how to be such a well-rounded actor.
Now, look, so you gave me a list, and I watched some of it. I got to check out Red Tails, but another Cinderella story.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. I'm always fascinated when I see the Warner Brothers logo, just because that was one of the jobs I got here at Warner Brothers Studio. Was that shot there on the?
I think Warner Brothers originally was behind it, but that's still like a Disney project, and I'm not sure how that was fused because it ended up on TV, but later back on Disney.
So it was like film, not with Warner Brothers though.
No, because we shot that in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we flew out there, but Disney I know was a part of that, and I forget how they had that like combined because it was like for TV, and then they put it out later as a separate movie drop. Really dope though. Working with Selena Gomez for that was her first film coming off of Wizards in Waverly Place. It was awesome because I seen what they were doing with her, and I'm like, oh, she's about to be one of the next stars. And that was a great film to do. Very fun, lighthearted. She was younger than me at the time, but she was like, oh man, she loved me on set.
Yeah.
Everybody just had a really good time shooting that film. I got to do my first music release on that film, which was awesome, with Drew Seeley, the song "First Class Girl," and it did pretty well. You
still mess around with the music? Or?
Yeah, I'm still doing music. On Bomb Pizza, we got the soundtrack. I got 3 songs with Jay Stone. We dropped a music video called "Making Plays." Y'all can check that out. And I got 3 songs on the soundtrack. I did hear that,
"Making Plays."
Yeah, I got another song with Jay Stone called "Forever Rich," and I forget the title of the.
One of them songs is when that red lowrider was pulling up and they always playing the background. That shit hard. It's hard. It's hard.
Exactly.
It's hard.
That's the song.
I was about to ask you about Bomb Pizza. What was the creative process behind it? Did you write any of it, produce it? Like how did that come together?
So Dale Stelly, my main man and partner in crime on this production side, brought the project to me. The writer had brought the project to him, and he was like, I got the guy to play the lead for this. If you use anybody else, it's not gonna work. So he brought me the script. I liked the script. I thought it was all right, and I was like, I definitely could add some sauce to it and make it comfortable and digestible for, able to be digested by the people. And also, I told Dale, like, I want to step into the producer side on this project and see what things I can bring to the table. I got a great relationships with, tons of people, and I think I can bring them into the project. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. That's what I was thinking as well. So we came together on that. And the project took a long time to finish because there were so many things going on. My co-star got shot. Berger got shot randomly. And we had to take a break. Then my mother had a stroke.
Oh man,
which was crazy, and she's doing okay now. But
shout out to mom.
I took a break from shooting for that to make sure she was all right for a while, and then COVID hit.
Damn.
So it was so much stuff stopping us from finishing this production, but we got it done.
How long was that?
Literally like 2.5 years to finish this movie, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
But because we were doing it independently, we had the funds, stuff was happening, and we were just making it work, scheduling with people, getting these different favors from people to come pop up on these days, getting the pizza spots and all this stuff that we had to do. But we made it work in the midst of me doing other projects and things that I was doing also. So
I was about to say it had to be even though you could tell it's a Tubi movie, it's not the highest budget, but you could tell it's different cameos in there. Ray J in there.
We had Snoop Dogg in there.
It's a lot of people in
there. Big cameos in there, and which helped us make it look huge.
Yeah, I watched it like 2-3 times already.
Shout out to Snoop for giving us a huge favor. That's the big homie.
Yeah.
Shout out to a bunch of people popped in for us. Ray J, Blueface popped in on the love. Apple Watts came through for me. Katie Allbird. Man, a lot of people. We have Cisco Reyes in the film. Came and killed it as a police officer. But we just had a good time shooting that project. I had a great time learning about producing the project. none of our projects would ever take that long ever again.
Yeah, of course.
Because of all those things. But it was a great process, and the movie came out 10 times better than I thought it was going to come out. With Dale's expertise on, knowing how to shoot it on the move and still piece it together and make it all make sense and work. And he thanked me for my professionalism of being able to make that script come to life and fixing the things that needed to be fixed that the writer had. He had some things that were, and I just helped it come together and be something that was fun to watch.
So one more project I was watching of you last night, the Black Trilogies, the little segment you had. Yeah. Talk about, man, it was real graphic. Like, talk about how the feeling of doing that, like filming that project.
Yeah, when I first read the script, I was like, ooh, I liked it because it was so risky as far as the stuff that was going on in the script. Spoiler alert, the thing with the preacher. Yeah. I wasn't part of the Tally episode, which is the girl who, contracted. And then she's passing. If you haven't seen it, check out the Black Trilogies. I don't want to give up too much if you haven't seen it, but that's what the type of stuff I'm looking for. Not always like that crazy and risky, but stuff that's out of the norm for me somewhat, a little bit risky, and just a good script, something that's kind of captivating and gonna shock people a little bit. If it's not just on the comedy side, comedy's a little bit more easy. It doesn't have to be too crazy. It doesn't have to be too shocking. It could just be what it is. As long as it's written well, then I'm all for it.
I didn't mean to skip over this too. The Proud Family. What age did you do the Proud Family? Because like I told you, I didn't even know.
I did the original Proud Family 2 seasons as the voice of Myron, but I only did a couple episodes, maybe like 4. Okay. And then when I found out the show was being rebooted, I hit up Kyla Pratt right away. I'm like, KP, what's up? We back? And I was like, let him know I'm ready to work. And she like, I got you. And of course, Proud Family is Ralph Farquhar, and he's from the Moesha bunch.
Yeah, okay. So correlates.
He got a couple writers over there who are from the Moesha bunch. So it's an easy situation for me to come over there and work, and I love working with Ralph. And
when was the reboot? When did
the reboot was just about 3 years ago, and it's been great. When I first came back, they were like, it's been some years. Can you still do the voice? And I'm like, yeah, of course. I jumped right into it. They're like, oh, he still got it. You know.
Now look, this is another grade school question. So when you doing something like the Proud Family, it's a cartoon. Mm-hmm. So is it motion capture or is just you in the studio recording?
No, we just go in the booth and record it like we got the script right in front of us and we just going on saying the lines.
Are y'all all in there together or is it separate?
So it used to be sometimes where we might be in the booth, maybe like 1 or 2 people. If you had a scene with somebody and it was like a longer scene where you guys are kind of playing off each other, they would do sometime a 2-person booth. But since COVID happened, it's like all private sessions. So we did like all of season 2 and 3, I feel like, or 2. We did all of 2 during COVID for sure.
Okay.
And I think some of season 1 was during COVID as well. And it was such a strange thing to come in and none of the producers are there and everything's on like video. We're doing everything like via video with them. Yeah. All of the producers are up in the screen and you just reading the lines kind of by yourself, which it's okay. It's a cool process. Easy, light work. I come in, I might be in my sweats, chilling, flip-flops. I can come in, knock it out.
Big
like it's crazy because like we did season 2 and I had to come in for one day to knock out like 10 episodes. And they're like, oh, it might take like, 2 hours or whatever. I'm like, okay, we're going to see. I did it in like 45 minutes, knocked out all the episodes. And they just like, oh, you just coming in and just collecting your check and going, huh? I'm like, I'll take all 10 episodes real quick on the way.
I mean, at least you had that option. So
so it was awesome. That was actually really nice. I love doing animation. So
that's what's up. So look, just closing out here. How do you feel about the state of TV now? Like like you just said, we got Bomb Pizza, you got Tubi now, Netflix, all these streaming platforms. So it's like Tubi, like the platform, like the go-to platform right now as far
there's
as
multiple platforms. Tubi's doing very well, and they're accepting a lot of works. Tubi's a cool platform because you see there's so many levels on there that you can see some amazing productions on there with these independent people. But you see stuff that is trash on there. Maybe it's a good script, bad production, very or bad budget acting. Yeah. There's so much on there to pick through. But I found some really good projects on Tubi. I do like Tubi, and I love them for being courageous enough to pick up these different projects, have a distribution outlet where people can get paid per stream, or they're buying people's projects outright. Like
that's what I was going to ask you.
They bought Bomb Pizza as a Tubi original, which was awesome.
That's what's up.
That was really dope.
So is that an option for people that don't know? If they want to do their own production, if you want to upload it to Tubi or whatever, you can make money from it being streamed, or if Tubi likes it, they'll pay you for it.
Correct. Okay. So it's all about, who you got attached, stuff like that. So that's important when you're doing independence, that a key thing is usually trying to have like 2 names, and then maybe fill in the blanks with some newer faces, can help you get your project picked up and stuff like that. But it's not hard, I don't think, to get your project on a Tubi. But all the producers that are on there, I would tell you, make sure you're doing your works, do your due diligence on the things that make your production better. It's not easy without budgets. Yeah. And I do understand the struggle, but that's one thing about the game. And I also try to work with people who are independently and working and coming up, if they have a good project and I've seen some of their work and the production value is good, it looks good, then I'm willing to work, with those people, because that's what it's about, with this new space. Like you're saying, the new direction is people have found a way now to produce their own content, and it doesn't take millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's great when you have $1 million or $2 million to produce something, because it can come out that much better. But you can do stuff, from on your iPhone, depending on how good you are at producing,
editing and all that.
Yeah, editing. But there's so many levels to what it takes to make a film work. You know what I mean? When you see those credits at the end of the movie, the difference between those and a Tubi movie, all those spaces are important, because it makes the job easier for the next person to make the production better. You know, there's so many things that matter: wardrobe, lighting. You got people on set who are the scripty, all this stuff that matters, because they're helping each person's job to be easier. And when you don't have those things, sometimes you see things lacking, because if you don't have a scripty, you don't have somebody who's watching every moment, and that's how you end up with somebody holding a bottle in this hand, and then all of a sudden it's in this hand, and then all of a sudden it's in this hand. So those things happen when you're lacking some of the budget. But the people who can get over the hump and create without all of those people are the huge talents, are the people who deserve the budgets, so that they can, soar in that space.
What do you so outside of movies and TV, or is there anything else you involve in? Anything else that you?
Like what directing and producing in the business. I am still directing now, producing as well, producing films and content. I produce and direct a couple big music videos and stuff like that. It's been really great. I run a modeling company as well, VVS Models, and that's going very well.
What is VVS Models exactly? Like what does
it stand for?
No. Well, what does it stand for? What do they do? What do you do with the models?
It's a casting agency. Basically, people who need either hired staff or models or actors for projects. I also help them cast, like for music videos or TV shows.
What does it stand for?
VVS is just like one of the highest qualities of diamonds. Not the highest, but one of the highest qualities of diamonds. Something that I shifted the company from an older name that I had before, and I came up with, and I thought it was pretty cool. And it's been going very well. I love the growth of the company.
So are you like finding like models, like music videos and like like shows and stuff too?
Yes. Okay. We had girls. I had models in the movie Dutch. I had models on the Tony. What's their name? Tony Roma's show. House of Vicious, I think it's called.
Okay.
Had some models on that. I've gotten models on billboards and tons of music videos and stuff from some of your favorite artists. I was working a lot with Young Dolph, doing a bunch of stuff for him when he was in LA.
Okay.
Back to back projects. But a lot of artists from YG to Future, and I casted a lot.
Touching on this one last thing with the modeling, people that's trying to get involved, what should they look out for when they want to oh, I'm a model, I want to move to LA? What should they look out for? Be like,
I mean, you just definitely want to, lock in with the people who show consistent work, have a good reputation for being professional. I try to always be professional, in that space, and make sure that the women are getting the most respect when they're showing up to the set. I get a lot of respect being able to show up there and be the representation for them. The artists kind of know they can't act up. Yeah, when they see me, they like, oh no, he's one of those guys who do this for real. So, and actually doing that, working with the models, and then the directors or whoever find out it's me, they start asking me my advice, like with the shot, and I'm helping them set up the girls because they like, he's got an eye for this clearly. So that's been very cool. And actually the reason why I started my modeling company was kind of to shadow music video directors kind of like quietly and build relationships in the music space and stuff like that. Give the music business something without just taking from it.
I knew you was involved with music because we connected through my homie. Shout out D Money Beats. D Money connected us. But look, closing out, man. What's next for MP Marcus Paulk? What's next?
I got so many things on the horizon, man. I'm working on another animated project coming up. I just finished a film with my boy Robert Richard called Homicide Suicide. It's like a thriller joint coming. I gotta sit down with him. That's gonna be dope. Yeah, I gotta get Robert over here for you for sure. I will see you some people too.
For sure. We locked in.
Yeah, we locked in. It's my guy, man. He good peoples. That project. What else we got going on? It's so much stuff. I have a couple of other films that are in post-production right now.
Okay.
Waiting to get distributed.
Anything major that we should like? The main thing,
Proud Family season 3 is huge.
Okay. That's on Disney
Homicide
Plus.
Suicide is going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. That's going to make some noise.
Okay.
I got some other stuff in the works. Can't get too loud about it, but we got some things coming for sure.
I know the people rock with you. I just seen the Shade Room showing you love.
Yes, I appreciate
I read the comments. So the comments, of course, the Martin
and it's
or whatever.
The Shade Room. So if you get in love in the Shade Room with the shady folks, then you know you're all right.
You Gucci though. Man, is there anything else you want the people to know? Man, I appreciate you sitting down. Like you said, you've been real genuine with me, bro. Like
Thank you.
Yeah, coming from where I come from, not the country. I come from where I come from, bro. Like being from North Carolina and coming here and being able to connect with people I seen on TV as a kid, and it's just genuine though, because you meet people in this industry and it's not always this way. How me and you sitting here talking, it's much appreciated. We locked in.
You solid too, man. You had a good business, on point with everything, and you just a humble dude as well. Carry yourself like a G, and I love that, man. But shout out to everybody, man. I wish the best to everybody out there. Follow your dreams, stay at it. That's usually how I like to end my joints. Don't let nobody tell you can't do it and you're not it.
We here.
As a community of people, let's support each other more. Let's love each other more. Let's support our people that we know are trying to do something. That's very important. Let's just do better as a people, man, and everybody, not just black, white. I want everybody to do better as a people. I want everybody to embrace each other more, and y'all support me. My ads are just my name, Marcus Paulk, MarcusPaulk. If you don't know, holla at me, man. Check me out.
We at Tony Ray 919. My handle's at Grade School Media. I appreciate y'all. We out.